I once paid someone like $15,000 to write a proposal for me. $15,000. Not only did we not win, but in this space, the government evaluates if you are technically acceptable, meaning do you just meet the requirements? So in many ways, think of technically acceptable as like 3 stars on a Yelp review, right? You're shooting for 5 and you're like, okay, 4, but you're like, I'll do 3. I can do 3. So the government is similar in that you have to be technically acceptable. I wasn't technically acceptable after paying $15,000. So it doesn't work. It's really not hard. You don't have to pay. It's way easier to understand. It is not the only way to win. And the answer is not always template. So we're going to dig into what it is. The reality is, because of the way the federal government is set up, they need something, right, that has information on it to legitimize them making the purchase. And that something may take the form of a proposal. It's just a loose term. It does not mean you're submitting some huge thing or you're submitting 20 documents. It's just a loose term for we need something. We need something to justify this purchase for me. In reality, here's what's really important when it comes to opportunity. It begins with the risk level, the RL. And that is this thing low level risk, medium level risk, high level risk? So let's break this down. If you need to buy a toothbrush, can you get a toothbrush at the dollar store? Type yes. As long as it's inside of a package, you're good. So with the federal government, that mentality, that government mentality is the same. If it's low level, lawn care, certain trucking efforts, certain trainings, tree trimming, painting, certain IT efforts. Give me 20 of these. I need 100 hats. Low risk. I just need it, right? I just need the toothbrush. I don't care where I get the toothbrush. I prefer soft. That's my preference. I prefer soft. If they have hard, listen, I don't care, right? Same with them. You know, it'd be nice to have a really nice mouse, but hey, we got to get what we can get. This is what we've been approved to get. Just get us the thing. That's all we need. Then you have medium level. I kind of think of this as like Airbnb. And when it comes to Airbnb, like if it's not like really a cost thing, you are looking for a place maybe in a certain area. Maybe you want a certain number of rooms. Perhaps you want Wi-Fi. Perhaps you're traveling with children and you want it to have some like cool additions for kids. Maybe you're looking something more romantic. Maybe you're looking for a huge mansion because there's a group of you going, but you're a little more specific about it. You have more requests, right? Because you're gonna stay there and you know in the grand scheme of things it's gonna be safe, you're gonna have fun, you're gonna love it. But you're like, I'll pay a little more if I can afford it because I'm staying in somebody's house or their cabin or like a tree house or a yurt, right? So for medium level efforts, it's the same way where now it might be they need 100,000 of these. It could be that it's a situation where the previous vendor did a really bad job and now they're extra careful because they don't want that to happen again. It could be that this is new for them. They have a new requirement and they've never experienced this before. Perhaps they're redoing the IT in a conference room and perhaps they're a little concerned because they're not really there that much and they just want it to work. Or perhaps they received a new set of funding to bring on and staff positions and this is new for them. Maybe they've never really managed alongside with government contractors. So there's like a mid-level of risk. Then you have the high level of risk. High level of risk tends to be opportunities where we're talking billions of dollars. We're talking, it may be some type of contract vehicle. It could be something where we're talking about a security clearance is needed, or it's involving something very like going to theater. And for those of you not familiar with that terminology, it means you're going into like an active war area. That's where it's a higher level of risk. So when it comes to deciding how am I going to bid, how am I going to look at this? Oh, I just need a proposal. We're not even talking about the proposal yet because it's not about the proposal yet. The way you respond to, oh, they want to buy 5 of these, is way different than if you're responding to an opportunity for a border detention center along the border of Mexico and Texas. The way you respond varies based on the level of risk. That is number one, hands down. Where do you find this out? You find this in the actual document. You find it in the actual document. So the first piece, hands down, when it comes to writing a proposal, you need to understand the risk level. You have to understand that. It doesn't matter if you're like, I can do it. There were many times I would see something, I can do it, I got a PhD, you know. When it comes to writing a proposal, you must understand what you're getting involved in before you rush in and start writing a proposal. You have to know your target. You have to understand what are you looking at. Next is, and this is super, super, super important, and this is the second part of winning strategy, okay? You have to understand what are the requirements. And this not only applies with the federal government, this applies at the state level. Let me give you an example. If it says you must be 8A, you must, and so these are like exclusive. These aren't like comma, 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 and, okay? So please understand that. You must be 8A to bid, or service disabled, or Indian owned, or a vet, or hub zone, or economically disadvantaged woman owned, or a small business. And if you're none of those things, you can't respond. As a prime, you can't respond. So that's number one. You have to understand and accept just the basics. So you must really understand and accept. That's the breakdown. And I was there. I didn't want to accept it. I was like, oh, I can do HR. I can do this training. I can do this staffing. And I won none because I still didn't really understand. The other thing you must understand, and this is a big tip, if the deadline, if you have fewer than 10 days to respond, do not bid on it. Chances are they already know who they want. So what you want instead is, number one, you want it to have a set aside. I'm assuming every single one of you are considered a small business. So you want to look at things that are small business. So here's the other myth. You don't have to have a woman-owned or you don't have to have any of those certifications to win work. There's someone I'm mentoring right now. He's won almost $500,000 in work, and guess what? His set aside is small business. He's been in this space for not even 2 months. So you must understand the risk levels, low, medium, high. Also, coming to terms with the requirements. So you're going to want to look for work that's set aside as small business. If you are not in SAM, you can partner with other people. So the next thing is you need to now look at what are these requirements. So on SAM.gov or Unison or NICO, or if you're using a third-party database like GovWin, GovTribe, or any of them out there, you need to go through the attachments, and first and foremost, you must identify what are the evaluation criteria. You have to identify that. You must identify this. I can't stress this enough. If they don't list them, chances are it could be low risk. You can make that assumption. And you can even double check. You can call the point of contact, you can email the point of contact, but chances are on low risk, remember, I just want 10 of these. I want 20 of these. I just need someone to mow the lawn twice a month. Low risk. So they're not going to give you a ton of information because it's low risk. You just need the toothbrush. You went to 7-Eleven, you got it for free at the hotel, call it a day, right? But you need to understand if they have evaluation criteria. So typically, if it's medium level or high level risk, they're going to have evaluation criteria. And sometimes it's super specific. The font you use, the page numbers, number of pages. They may ask for resumes. They may ask for a course outline. They may ask you, for instance, there's an opportunity with the Coast Guard, and they want you to do, it's either a 10 or 15 minute presentation on Zoom. So as you can see, right, the more risk, the more requirements. So again, if I just said, oh, here's how you write a proposal, here's some templates, are you gonna write the same template for selling a mouse, or if someone needs to clean a building once a week, in comparison to, oh man, we got to do a 15-minute presentation. It's different. So when it comes to the document, the types of language that they use will include evaluation criteria. Sometimes they'll say like something about award. These are the kind of words you want to look for. And then on Unison, it's usually on the main page. You'll see something about basis of award. BOA is what I've put out there in some of my social media. You're looking for the basis of award. You're looking for the evaluation criteria. In other words, this is how they're grading your paper. Because remember, you're turning in something. Before, I actually had to mail. There were times I would same day air deliver. And some states, definitely at the state and local level, you often have to mail something. So, when I say you're turning in a paper, you are maybe in the form of PDF, but it's still a paper. So having that evaluation criteria lets you know this is how they're going to grade me. No different than when you were in first grade, second grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, or whatever grade you did or didn't go to, right? Same thing. Because if you don't know how they're grading you, how do you know what kind of proposal to give them? Then this is where you pause and you think. Okay, before we get into the next phase, which is the ingredients. This is where you really have to have a moment with yourself. You have to really see and think about, do you meet the requirement? For instance, if they say, please give this past performance questionnaire to 3 clients, are you able to really do that? If they say, please use only products from this bio something list, are you able to do that? If it says, please make sure you have general liability insurance and you need to send a proof of the certificate, do you meet that requirement? And all of these examples, every example I provide are real examples. These are not things I just made up and I heard. These are things that I have encountered over 10 plus years in this space. Because the more in which you're like, yeah, I meet the requirement, I know these people, or I can get to know them, I know we can do this, and we'll get to price. I know my pricing is going to be nice. Then the higher your win rate is, then we're going to get to the proposal, right? This is all the work you do before the proposal. It's similar to cooking. Typically, especially with food, we plan. And the same goes for a proposal. You need to do all this upfront work. You have to take that time. You look at the risks, you look at the requirements, you make sure the deadline is greater than 10 days, you look at the BOA or basis of award, and you start to dissect, put it into your proposal matrix to figure out, am I doing this or am I not? Excluding these things that they ask for will not lead you to a win. And they know your business name, right? They have your business name there. They have your cage code. Or if you're partnering, they have this information. Man, you need to watch out for that company. We have this proposal. You should see what they've sent us. They all talk. Contracting officers, people in these different roles, they talk. So again, it's not about, oh, the proposal, where's the proposal? She's been in this, she's been talking this long, I don't even see a proposal. Because it's not about the proposal. It's not about the proposal.